We're now going to look at the transport controls in CoolEdit, and to do so we're going to use a short section of the opening music file purely for demonstration purposes. The transport controls are located towards the lower left corner of the CoolEdit window as indicated here, and the first button to look at is the stop button, which is the grey square. Clicking on that during either playback or recording of an audio file will stop either playback or recording. The next button is the local playback button, and just to the right of that is the global playback button. The local playback button is a right arrow symbol, and the global playback button is a right arrow symbol with a circle around it. If you were to left click on the local playback button, you can see that the audio file starts to play from the start marker and it finishes when the cursor reaches the far right hand side of the screen. If you were to left click on the global playback button, you'll find the audio file starts from the start marker, but when it reaches the right hand edge of the screen, if there is additional audio, it will continue to play, and you can see the waveform is scrolling across the screen. The audio file will continue to play until the very end of the audio file without any further intervention from yourself. I've actually clicked on the stop button here to stop the audio file, and I've returned it to the start of the waveform. Now if I click on the play button, at any time I can click on the pause button and I can pause playback. I can press on it again. As you can see, I can pause and resume it as many times as I wish. This also works during recording of a file. Pressing the stop button ends playback. Now the next thing we're going to look at is using the cue markers. As you can see on the waveform, we have 4 separate cue markers: Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4. I can skip between these cue markers by using either the previous cue button, as indicated here, or the next cue button. When I click on the next cue button, you can see that I jump between Q1, Q2, Q3 and Q4, and the cue markers are highlighted with the yellow start marker to indicate which position I am currently at. I can move left or right to move between the cue markers as required. If need be, I can return to the very start of the waveform by clicking the previous cue marker repeatedly until eventually the start marker appears at the very left edge of the waveform.